Hey y'all, it's the NFT Roundtable, a new podcast produced by Black NFT Art. It's Wednesday, March 31st, and today I'm talking to Lizzy and Elise, two Black women who have been doing really well in the NFT space. And we're just gonna hang out today and talk about how y'all have been doing and what your experiences have been like. So, what's up, Lizzy and Elise? How are y'all doing today?
Hi, I'm
Hey,
great.
hey,
Thank you.
doing good, doing good.
All
It's good
right,
to see you guys.
yes, it is. It is. Let's start off
Yeah.
with some quick intros. Elise, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Very honored to be a part of this. I know this is going to be a great beginning to something wonderful. So congrats to you. But a little bit behind of who I am. I am a visual storyteller and I specialize in mobile photography, which means I shoot and edit on my iPhone, and I have been doing that for over 10 years. I got my start on Instagram in 2011, and I became a Instagram uh, a I'm trying to think of the word right now, like lost on me. I became a suggested user on Instagram many years ago, which meant that many people signing up at the time would see my face as a example of what Instagram was. So I was gaining thousands of followers a day, and of course that's going to inspire anybody. So I capitalized on that, built a brand for myself, and since then I've traveled all over the world, working with big brands from Adobe to Adidas to Apple. I have been on vacation with Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. I've had dinner with Kanye. Just a lot of crazy stuff since starting off on a broken iPhone 4 10 years ago and being a college dropout. So uh, I got into the NFT space a month ago, and I got accepted into Super Rare and decided to be really um, particular about how I sold. I wanted to be, very rare, very limited drops. But so far, I've sold three pieces, and my latest has sold for 20 Ethereum. So right now, I think my average is like $23,000 sales out over the three, so which is pretty big and pretty good. So I'm I'm like mad grateful, completely honored, and just like definitely feel like I should be here, but at the same time it feels weird. I feel like I'm like, are you sure that's how much you want to pay for my art? I don't have to do anything for it. I think there's like this interesting dichotomy that I've been in from influencer projects and stuff where I feel like I'm always trying to owe things to people or something, and I have to, do a brief or a marketing, scheme of some sort. But with this, it's like I could just be me, and that feels freeing and wonderful. So I'm very happy to be a part of this.
That's really awesome. Thank you. I
Thank you.
remember Elise, you I think you DM'd us Black NFT Art on
Yeah, it
Instagram. On was it Twitter?
was on Twitter.
Yeah. And that was when you had made that third sale for
Mm-hmm.
something like 30,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Super exciting. Lizzy, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, hi. I'm Lizzie. I'm a 24-year-old multidisciplinary artist slash content creator. I wear a lot of hats, and I love it like that. I graduated from the University of Toronto. Spent a lot of times being hella confused in university on what I was gonna do, but I've been a self-taught artist all my life. I've just never really said, "Oh my God, that is what I need to focus on." So in my second year, I think I had like a midlife crisis. School was like, eh. And I found this really cool program called Communications, Culture, Information Technology. And I minored in film studies and sociology. So I had a lot of fun at university. I got to watch movies and really get inspired in that world. And then I also was in a space of learning about being a creative in the digital era in like Web 2.0. So a lot of the stuff we did was like photography and videography. And I fell in love with a lot of things in the different disciplines of art in school. So I graduated in 2019 and I was working at the bank, and it was great because I got to learn about business and investing and all things like that. I thought that was great for while I was in school. But I just didn't want to stay there. And it didn't seem like I would get to creatively, become myself. So I just said, I'm gonna quit. So I quit. And it was great. But I was also walking into instability like, okay, hi. So I was like doing freelance content creation for a while, and I built my own social media on Instagram, and I was doing cool like collabs. So I kind of understand what Elise was saying. I'm like, oh yeah, that was kind of me too.
Right.
Like, and understanding that in like for myself, like so pitching yourself to brands and pitching yourself for campaigns that you want to do. I had to teach myself all of that from the beginning. And it was so funny because in the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, I could charge $10,000. And like, girl, what? Yeah, there's so much to learn from like when I started to kind of going at it by myself. 2019, 2020. I wanted to go into music and doing stuff in PR, but then the pandemic hit, okay, and that changed a lot of stuff. So I had to just like figure out, go back into my like creative bag as I was like same thing as when I was a kid because I'm an only child, so I had to entertain myself with creativity. So I went to the dollar store, bought a whole bunch of cool arts and crafts stuff, came up with this interesting idea of creating functional art with clay, and I came up with like an interesting concept, and I was like, ooh, I have to try this. So 2020 was that. I just put my head down and created this brand called Bodied Art Form, and I sculpt like functional art pieces, so like incense holders and body candles that are both a sculpture but as well as a functional aromatherapy piece. And that's what I was doing for the whole of 2020. And then I realized like, oh my God, I built this brand. I did all the stuff, the website design, the photography, love all of those things, but I didn't really know who were my collectors. I was kind of like, I didn't go to school for art, so I don't really understand the art world. And I like it's a pandemic, you can't go to gallery openings and all these things. So Clubhouse kind of entered the space, and I found out that I could listen to so many conversations and meet people that were in these different roles and network. And that's I love to talk, so as you can tell. And yeah, I just kind of started to know who were different people and like network. And then I found about like NFTs a week or 4 weeks now that I found out about it. And I was just like, the art world had a lot of resistance, I noticed, and I'm on the outside in, so I was like, you guys can stay. I'm gonna go listen to what they're talking about. So I sat down and I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Like I also feel like my program really prepared me for it because Web 2.0 and then Web 3.0. And I was just like, it clicks. So I just, put my head down and started to really think about curation. I have a lot of art, but I wanted to walk into this intentionally. So I I understood the space a little bit more and figured out, okay, what I need to do. And I put out my Genesis collection. And like the second day I dropped it, I made my first sale and I was like, what? This is real? Like I could actually, somebody's going to buy it. Like, and I was playing around with prices and they bought the most expensive thing. And I was like, whoa, like it hits you like, wow, if someone really appreciates it and you really put it out there in the world. And Black NFT art, they retweeted and the community was so welcoming that like it can really happen to you. So sometimes I like agree with Elise. I'm like, I felt like I still kind of get the imposter syndrome. Like, can I do this? You don't see a lot of Black women and Black people in this space. So but that whole example still pushed like, this, if you just keep your head down and keep doing what you're doing, you can really make it happen. And that's what Elise is doing. So I'm just following her footsteps. Yeah.
That's what we doing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Lizzy, I'm surprised that you only started a month ago with NFTs.
Yeah,
When did you start, Elise?
Oh, it was only a month ago too.
Wow.
Yeah, when I dropped my first one, I had no idea what I was doing. No clue. I mean, I studied a little bit, like how Lizzie did. Like I mean, I made sure that I was looking at what the most popular people are doing, looking at what the top sales are, looking, just making sure, even to the littlest details, like what are their descriptions, what are their titles, what are their hashtags, who do they conversate with, how do they conversate, how do they, like a lot of the dynamics of the community I had to study, and I think that's what really helped me a lot.
I agree.
That makes a lot of sense. So Elise, where did you start learning about NFTs? I know Lizzy mentioned Clubhouse for you, Lizzy, right? So
Yeah.
what about you, Elise?
Yeah, I learned through Twitter. I've been on Twitter for like 10 years now or so. Just obsessed with it, on it every day. And I actually say good morning at 5 a.m. I have for like years now. I actually did like a sunrise photo that I'd post every day for 2 years when I lived in Chicago. I live in Brooklyn now. So Twitter's like my family, my home base. So I had a friend named Jay and Silva who I've known through Instagram photography. The community that we have in Instagram is completely different, but he was one of the first people who was talking about NFTs, and I just thought it was so interesting. And then I also know Beeple too, personally. We've traveled together, we've been on different events together, we've hung out. So I saw that he was kind of talking about it too, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I should probably get a little bit more involved and figure out some stuff. So my management actually was talking to me about it too a couple months ago, and they were like, "Hey, there's this NFT stuff happening," but we didn't take it very serious. We were just kind of like, it sounds cool, but does it really fit into what we're trying to do? I don't know, not sure. But then I saw some of my friends talking about it, and I was like, "Hey, maybe I should be more on top of this." So I hit my management up, and I was like, "Yo, we need to be more on like adamant. Give me a list of platforms. Do we know anybody? Let's really, And then after that, I started applying to places. And got accepted in a super rare. And after that, I just simplified everything. I was okay, I'm at this great platform. I'm not going to ask for anything more. I'm going to keep it real simple and just focus on this. So that's what I've been doing pretty much.
What other platforms did you apply to?
I applied to Nifty. I think I applied to like maybe I'm not sure what other, I don't remember at this point, maybe Foundation or something. But I definitely got denied at Nifty. And let me tell you something about that. So, you know how you have to apply and send like a video or something? Well, so like in some of the applications, it's like you have to send like a 1 minute video or something in the application process. So, or at least I don't know if they do it still, but I had to. So for the Nifty one, when so just to back up a little bit, when you have to actually buy certain crypto on certain exchange platforms, like back in the day, you had to post like a photo of yourself with like your account number or something so they know you're a real person to buy or whatever, right? So I thought that when I applied to Nifty, they wanted a minute video or a video of me. I just sent them a video. I was like, "Hi, my name is Elise Swopes," and that's all I sent. So I don't know if they saw that and they were like, "I don't know who she thinks she is, but that's not enough." And they were like, "No." So, but after that, I realized I was like, "Oh, maybe I think they're asking for like information or something." So I like sent a super rare one that, was about me, my background, who I am, what I'm trying to do on the platform, and I'm assuming that's probably how it worked. But at this point, I'm very thankful that I'm on super rare. I appreciate Nifty and what they do. I think it's a bit, I think it's a lot more intense for me though. They're a lot more serious about it. I like super rare. It's a little bit more laid back.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, I have definitely seen a number of artists get rejected from Nifty Gateway. They seem super selective,
Absolutely.
and I'm curious to see, as time goes on, if they change their process in any way. Because I think the ability to do like the open editions is really
Mhm.
important, and
Mm,
they plus Maker's Place are the only ones that allow that.
right.
I just want to know how
Um,
many black people are on Nifty Gateway.
I don't
I
think
don't
there
think
are
there's
many.
many.
Yeah.
There's not many, Lizzie, and we know that. So precisely, I mean, there's a lot to say about it. It's a bro club over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Lizzy, you have been primarily on
Open
OpenSea,
sea.
right?
Yeah.
So how did you choose your platform?
Well, I was looking at all of them, and I remember I was in this room, clubhouse room, where the guy was helping people who literally wanted to start. So, what the wallets you need, what everything means explaining terminology, and then he explained different platforms. So the first one he said was like super, no, Rarible, and I was like, oh, I got so excited in the beginning. I was like, oh, I can put something up. I have some work, and then like stuff popped up, and I was like, what does that mean? Wait, what if I do this and that doesn't? Oh, $150. I just paused because it was also like in my mind, I was like, do you pay this every time? I'm just going to take a moment. So when I started to really understand a little bit more that OpenSea is kind of the space, well, if you're just really trying to get your toes wet and like really be in it though, this is the space because of the whole lazy minting, the one-time fee. When you just put up things, you're listing it, but when someone buys it, that's when it's minted. I was like, okay, this is where I think I'm comfortable starting off. And I mean, I made the sale. I didn't do nothing. I didn't just, put it up there and just so, okay. I kind of was doing the same thing as Elise, like, okay, what hashtags do I need to do? Okay, I need to also put my drop in the OpenSea Discord. I got to go on Clubhouse and be like, hey guys, I just, I really put myself out there with the piece just because that is me, but I think it's important to know how to market yourself. And really try and communicate the way the community communicates. So I've used OpenSea and it's good for me. I've started to be like, okay, do I think certain pieces of work could be in specific platforms and still use different platforms? Yeah, because I'm like, I have so much diverse art and I'm like, I do like other platforms. So I'm just starting to go like, okay, maybe I can start to know what to do with specific art nowadays. But I like OpenSea. I think it's really good for artists who are just starting out that cannot afford to be paying like, because foundation, you got to pay every time you mint something. So, I mean, it adds up. And if you're not selling immediately, then that's a whole thing. So, yeah, I think it's really good for anyone starting off to just try it out. At least you can put up all your work and kind of curate the way you want to. And you're your own boss. You wear all the hats. You have to be the marketer. You have to be the curator. You have to be the artist. You have to be everything if you're going to go on OpenSea because it's an open sea.
The guy who actually bought my first piece, he's like the biggest investor in OpenSea, and he told me that that's like one of his favorite platforms. So I feel like OpenSea, if I was to start, I feel like that would be my choice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, OpenSea seems to be OpenSea is like the number one platform for NFTs, right?
Yeah.
Even though people say it's oversaturated, there's too much stuff on there. People do. It works for people.
People find their YouTube videos. They know exactly what they want. They'll go there. If you get your link into front of the right person, they'll click it. There's no discrimination on links. You click the link, it'll take you to the art. If you like the art, you'll buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you both talked about marketing and like paying really close attention to what people are doing to market their artwork. What has worked for both of you?
Honestly, I mean, I see some people doing, these like teasers and stuff, or, big kind of like lead ups and stuff like that. I haven't found that that's necessary, so to speak. At least for me, I think like if people are gonna see it, they're gonna see it. Like Lizzie said, like once you get the link, like you got the link. Like I don't know how much more there needs to be said. And I mean, people, I'm sure that for a certain artists who sell right away. I mean, I know people probably have, the calendar set and stuff like that, but at least for me personally, I'm just like I want to create new work that is a little bit different than what people have seen on my feed, just to give that person something unique, and also for me to kind of be able to let that piece go personally because I have a very personal attachment to a lot of my favorite pieces, and then uh, so yeah, I just think the marketing has a lot to do with, like I said, like being on Twitter, paying attention, being authentic. Don't shill yourself like desperately. They kind of know when, it's very obvious that someone's desperate, and I think that desperate doesn't play off for the long term. You want to make sure that you're thinking about the long term. I think like there's a fear for a lot of people that they're missing out on this opportunity, but
FOMO.
Right, but I don't think that that's helping a lot of people. I think that we still need to be patient with our story. We still need to be patient about what we're trying to accomplish and be intentional, like Lizzie said. Like that's really, really important for just not just for buyers, but for your personal self. Because later you're
Mhm.
gonna look back and be like, I'm glad that I took my time, you know?
Mhm. You know what I think about that too? I think that because when I look at it on the like a step back and looking at Web 2.0, 3.0. 2.0 created this space where a lot of our interactions were on like social networking platforms that relied heavily on people's opinions and views and all these different things. So that in the psychology of humans has created this like anxiety for people to be like, oh my God, if I don't do this, like I'm not, like I don't know what. But in 3.0, the space is like the way it's going to evolve, we're not even going to like know for certain what it's going to look like. And we're so early that like if you enter but really curate yourself in the space as an artist, you'll see like the next 5 years is going to be a whole nother ball game once you enter the space, right? But like I even know like in the initial, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta, but I'm like, wait, I don't need to put out a whole bunch of stuff. I need to really focus and look at these different pieces of work and just kind of I know that it doesn't have to sell immediately. Like some people it
Mm-hmm.
does and it could be great, but that might not be your story and that's, totally okay. It's not going away tomorrow, so you're kind of good. So I tell myself that all the time and just try to kind of ground myself that there is no reason for FOMO to exist in Web 3.0 and onwards. So,
Mhm.
take a moment. But when it comes to advertising, the same thing is just like interacting the way you would anywhere else, just kind of like, hey, I just posted this is on OpenSea or this is wherever. Here's the link. And hashtags, because Twitter, I realize, is so different than Instagram. I'm very much Instagram. Hashtags really work. They really center your tweet into the conversation. So if your hashtags are very focused about NFTs and collectors, people are going to see it who are regularly on Twitter, like regularly. So I'm trying to teach myself to use Twitter all over again. But yeah, just kind of like tapping into those things that the community is staying in because those are the people that are buying and actually interacting. But yeah.
You mentioned Web 2.0 and 3.0 a few times. Can you explain to our listeners what the difference is?
Okay, so the web evolution is an interesting space, but it obviously started from Web 1.0, which is where you kind of have like the static internet browser. That's when you think about like dial-up. That was the stage of 1.0, but when we move it to 2.0, I think the pillars were about cloud, mobile, and then interaction. So that's when you have like the integration of like the iPhone. So now everyone can have the internet in their hands. And then it evolved into different social media platforms that allowed people to create user generated content, which just changed the game and introducing the sharing economy like Uber and Airbnb and the way that we interact with our own things and ownership like that. So that's kind of what the space of the internet did to how we socialize in the digital era. And then when we start moving into 3.0, you have these pillars of permissionless and then a whole decentralized space. So now there's this whole ecosystem that can thrive in this digital space that you can now start adding into the blockchain trade by barter. So people have cryptocurrencies, they have money in the digital version, they can trade it for digital assets like art or in the space of what this might look like, anything that you digitize. That's kind of how the systems of money and ownership will kind of transpire there. But you have this whole space of who exactly bought what, when they bought it, how much they bought it for. So it's transparent. Anything that's on the blockchain can be looked up for the years to come. So I think that's something that's exciting and why people are very interested in buying digital assets because in 30 years, when they're like, I owned the one of one in 2021, that's going to mean something. So, yeah.
So basically, Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 just refer to like the evolutions of the internet, basically.
Correct.
Okay. So right now we're in Web 3.0.
I call it like 3.1 because then I feel like it's just going to go into different stages of the evolution of what 3.1, because like even Ethereum they're creating Ethereum 2 And that's going to
Right.
be that's going to look very different to what one was, since that started in like 2015, and it is a little bit not as sustainable as people would wish for it. So you're
Right.
going to see so many things change within this Web 3.0 before we get to God knows what. But yeah, we're here.
Gotcha. So y'all are two Black women in the NFT space, and you both have done really well. But there aren't many Black women in this space at all. There aren't many Black people, period. But most of the Black people in the space have been men. So can you talk about what that has been like, and what it's like being a Black woman in the NFT space?
Lizzy, would you like to start?
You can start. I'm gonna let you start.
I mean, it's, being a Black woman, I think we have we don't bullshit shit. That's all I'm gonna say. We don't bullshit, and I don't fake stuff. I'm very authentic. I speak what I feel, what I know. I think when it comes to the NFT space, there's a lot of ass kissing, which I cannot do and I will not ever do to certain people. I don't care how much accolades you got. Um, and that's something I think is a very difficult thing to navigate, because obviously being in this space, you have to, communicate and connect with people and kind of humble yourself with the OGs, so to speak, because there's an OG system to this. Obviously, there's people who have been a part of this community for years, and they're all predominantly older white men. And so, out of respect for the space, obviously you want to respect them because they set a standard, they made way, but at the same time, I want them to make sure that they're opening their eyes and not just being so buddy buddy with people that they can communicate naturally with. Like, I communicate differently than you, and that doesn't mean that you should support somebody else because we don't talk the same. Like, that's where I'm having an issue, is like, I'm just not a bro. I'm not a white bro, and I'm not gonna be a white bro ever. And I'm gonna be a Black woman. And we care about different stuff. We see the world a little different, but they're just gonna have to humble themselves a little bit more and open their eyes to what they have to do. They just have to be uncomfortable. And they don't want to be, but they need to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I think.
Yeah. I totally feel that. I think, like, me entering this space, everything was really new with NFTs. So kind of like listening to the discussions, I start to realize, I'm like, oh yeah, this really does feel very white around me, which is not bad. But then I'm like, okay, but where are my Black people? Where are more Black women in this space? I know there have to be, but like, I feel like we get pushed aside and lost in a lot of the conversation, or even discussion most of the time, which is weird to me, because I'm like, I know I've met some dope ass artists. Why don't we ever get attention, or the space to collaborate? Because I've seen people in the same space of me kind of enter the space, and and they're white, and they're a
Right.
white male, and I'm like, okay, well, that's the congratulations to you, because this space is for everyone, literally. But what are you going to do to make sure you met someone that you're like, hey, I know this space. I just know this space is not going to be as welcoming to you as it is to me. How can I do some work? Because people, again, they need to know that they need to do some work for other people. Just because, like, it's the right thing to do. It's what I feel, without question. I'm like, oh, I made money. Please, like, if you need to know about NFTs, come talk to me. If you're an artist, like, please talk to me, because I would love to tell you why you need to get into this space. I would love to explain to you how to get into this space. And I've done that for so many people already. And I'm like, so, okay, well, maybe the mindset's different, but why do we have to say, like, oh, maybe it's the mindset? It shouldn't be that way. But alas, here we are.
Right.
So it seems like community has been very important in this space, and like finding people that you can speak to. Lizzy, like you said, you want artists to be able to come to you and ask questions, and I'm sure you've been able to go to other people and ask questions. So, like, how have you found community in this space?
Hmm. I'm a very extroverted person, and I feel like I don't get uncomfortable like meeting people. So for me, it's really different. Like I can walk into a space and, easily strike up a conversation or go on like the day I even dropped, which was my first day, I was having the most difficulties with the file size on OpenSea. It was like you can't have any file that's not MP4. And I was having a moment where I thought MP4 was for music. And I'm like, but this is a video. What do I do? And I was trying to call my friend, but she was in a workshop. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Clubhouse. I'm going to put up my hand, go up on stage, and be like, hey guys, this is my problem. Like, I don't have an issue to come and talk and get my problem solved. And it was really great because that was a way of networking and getting people to kind of conversate with me. But it really is breaking down that barrier and allowing artists now to kind of come out of their shells of being kind of uncomfortable talking to the world, but like coming out to talk to other artists and other spaces, and just do that as comfortably as you can, but get out of the comfort zone, just communicate. Yeah, sometimes how you got to do it.
100%.
What about you, Elise?
I forgot the question, to be honest with you.
Oh, the question was around finding community. So
Oh,
finding community in the NFT space.
um, I feel like, I feel like I'm very blessed to be a social media influencer already, someone who's verified on Instagram and Twitter. That definitely assisted me a lot with being a little bit more like trusted, I think, in the community and kind of reaching out to people and people being like, "Ooh, who is she? Does she matter? What is she about?" So that definitely helps. And that's why I begged for my verify in 2017. I was like, "It's good for business. Give it to me now."
I still need
So
mine.
oof,
Mm.
girl, it is there's so many people struggling right now in there. I don't know what they're doing, but they need to get it together. But so I think that with that long-term planning in the early days, I think it really assisted me now. But I feel like I did a lot of the work by myself. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I feel like I Googled a lot of things, read a ton of like a lot of writing, a lot of journalism, a lot of posts, a lot of things, a lot of tweets about certain stuff because I didn't really want to like step on any toes, I guess, on what other people were doing because I was so new in it. I didn't like people were like, "Oh, you should hit up Beeple and have him, give you some tips." I'm like, "No." Like, I'm not gonna bother him at the top of this. Like, that's so user-ish. Like, no. Like, I know how that is, and I don't want to do that to people. So for me, I was like, let me just just figure it out. Like, I don't know. I've just kind of been like that my whole life a little bit. I just kind of like doing things on my own, but that also is difficult because there's there's so much to learn and so many people to meet. So I've definitely been uncomfortable many times to not so much like humble myself, but just like put myself out there and begin again,
Mm.
because
Mm.
when I first started on Instagram in 2011, it was the same kind of thing, how it is here. Lots of white people. I was the only black woman in the space. I was the only black woman at many events, and I'd be like, "Hello, what's going on here? Like, who has the list?" And I'd like email them after, like, that was unacceptable. You guys need to do better. Like, this has been done before for me.
Mm.
And so now I'm at a place where it's like I know how it's going to turn out, and I know it's it's I know that I got to play the long game. I got to make sure that I do my due diligence, I do my work because I could show for it. I don't want to just be talking about it. I want to show that I'm about it. And so that means I'm making my sales, I'm doing behind the scenes work. I'm making sure that people know that I'm about this stuff and I'm not just in here for the little bit. And I like proving people wrong, most importantly. There's a lot of women in this field too, a lot of women in this community who are afraid, and they're afraid of the black women who are coming in it. And I could tell because they don't want to follow me back. They don't want to answer my DMs. They don't want to do this. But I know they see me, and I know they see me. But it's fine. It's totally fine because I've been here before. I've been here before. And I know that I will last. And I promise you I will. So they will see, they will come back around because all the people who weren't there before in the early Instagram days, they are back. And they have been congratulating me, all up on me, whatever. But I'm kind. I'm kind about it, and I'm very cordial, and it is what it is because like what is that? What do they say? It's like a proverb or something, people they do not know what they do or some shit like that. Like that's, people just don't know at the time, and I forgive them for that. Oh, forgive them for they do not know what they, like that kind of stuff. It's like I'm not mad at people about it. It's just that I know how it works and I know people are weird and I'll be fine.
It's funny that you said that because even I thought, I'm like, so you're not going to answer back my DMs? Okay, but you know what? It's okay though. It's okay. You know why? Because this is a train, right? And it's going. It just, and you're going to have to like, to try and get on the train eventually, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way the world works. So kind of knowing that and having that mindset going in, you can't lose. It's only up from here.
You cannot lose and you will not lose. Do not allow anybody to tell you who you are, to defeat you, to minimize you, to devalue you. You only know you and you got to believe in you. So I've been doubted so many times in this stuff. People are like, oh, you do iPhone photography, editing? Are you sure? It's low quality. No one's going to buy that. Yeah, right. Okay, bye.
You know?
Yeah.
Period.
I think Black women are really good at saying, regardless of whether or not I have access to all the resources or all the people, I'm just going to figure out how to make this work. And
Yep.
it seems that that's what y'all have been able to do. And Lizzy, I see you on Clubhouse all the time. You're very active there, and you're clearly building a presence and a name for yourself using Clubhouse. And Elise, it seems like you have been able to kind of mobilize the community that you already have around you from your artwork, while also just figuring it out, even though you're not like super embedded in the NFT community.
Right. Absolutely.
Yep.
So what have any of you been able to connect with your collectors directly?
Yeah. Yes.
Not yet.
I actually
Yeah, tell me about that.
I had a video call with my first buyer. His name is Nick. He is a founder of One Confirmation, and One Confirmation actually just don't invested $9 million in Super Rare yesterday. They just had a big announcement. So I think, I mean, it was a good call. Hopefully, great things keep happening from that. But my second person, I've just had DMs with them. Very kind person. A lot of these people are very like anonymous and kind of like secretive, and they don't want to like say their names. They don't want to like, whatever. So that's interesting and very odd to navigate, but I respect it, I mean, you got a lot of money and you're shelling it out. I'd be kind of scared too.
You know what I mean?
And then the third person, Jonathan, he is also a big investor in some other things, and we DM quite often. He is in Germany. He's based in Germany, and I just like ask him random questions like, where should I put my money? What's a good wallet? What is this? Like I just like ask him tons of
'Cause he got
questions. I hope
money.
he's not annoyed with me. But yeah, I think it's good for us to kind of just like, I don't know, just hit them up and be like, yo, what's up? What are you doing?
You know what I mean?
That's
I
about it.
honestly, I tried. I'm like, this person spent $5,000 on my work. Who are you? Can I just say thank you to you? But like, so anonymous. And I'm like, I can't. How do I find you? So I have tried, but I couldn't. And I understand it, right? Like, you can go on the Etherscan and know exactly how much that person has in their wallet. So I can understand why people kind of want to just stay anonymous. I'm understanding a lot more about cyber hacking and then this whole space of making sure that you're secure with because you're your own bank now, right? You have to be
Right.
secure. So that's, you got some people who want to make a name or make it known who they are and what they're collecting. And then there's some people that are like, just keep me out of that. It's for me. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that you have the different tiers of collectors. You have the people who um maybe don't have 20, 30,000 to spend, but they may have a few thousand. And I think those people tend to be a lot more open on social media about
Mm-hmm.
sharing what they're buying, and a lot of them seem very focused on supporting up and coming artists, and like helping them get their first sale, even if it's only like for half an ETH or a percentage of an ETH or something like that. And then you have the bigger quote unquote whales,
Big
right, who
spender.
are dropping 50,000, a hundred
Yeah.
thousand.
Yeah.
I can definitely see why people like that would want to be anonymous. And also I would imagine, they don't want they're probably getting hit up by artists who are like, hey,
Can you
can
buy
you
my
look at my work? Yeah.
When I first started, I was in people's
You
DMs. I was
have to
like,
be
"Do you
though.
know me?
Do you just
Hello."
want to see my work though? Hey, this is the link.
And then after they don't respond, you'd be like, "All right, okay, let me
I
just
get
lay
the
off a little
point.
bit. All right, I see you. Okay, okay, okay. I'm
But
gonna
I know you
understand."
see me
Yeah.
though. And that's what, but it's about that. It's about putting that
Yeah.
first, okay, you saw me, you see me in the DMs, you'll see my art somewhere. Then you'll be like, damn, I really should have just been.
Yep.
So that's how you gotta play. You gotta plant the seeds everywhere you can, but you can't overdo it. It's like sending 30 emails. People will get annoyed. You don't want to be that person.
Yes.
Would you
That's
say
right.
that as you've started to sell more artwork or more NFTs, have you been reaching out to collectors less?
No, haven't slowed down one bit.
You can't.
Nope,
This is a
you can't.
what is this? Snowpiercer. This have you seen the movie Snowpiercer, the show?
Yes,
We're on snow.
unfortunately.
Yeah. We're on the Snowpiercer. It's moving a little too quick, so you got to be on your toes. Um,
Yes.
but I feel like I've just been more calculated. Like, okay, now I want to know, just the same way when I was curious about who are the collectors in the art world. I was like on Clubhouse. I go into rooms and I'm just going through who are these people? What do they do? What do they like to do? Do they collect art? I'm saving them in my little NFT collectors thingy on Instagram.
Yep.
Why? Because when I post, I'll be like,
Gotcha.
here you go. I just did this, did it,
Send a
and
little
then
shill link.
here. But yeah, it's just about kind of like refining even to find who are the people that may spend a lot more, just even want to
Right.
collect more Black women arts, all these things.
Mhm.
Gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha. Okay. So the direct DMs to collectors is a core part of your strategy.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. So what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of my ability to navigate this community with a good head on my shoulders. But that took a long time of practice. I mentioned a little bit that I wake up at 5 a.m. So I wake up at 5 a.m. I meditate, I read, do yoga, I write, I journal, I share that writing to my Instagram stories, I record it. I have like a whole morning space to myself that is very specific to set my energy before anybody else does. And I think that that's one of the most like proud things I have is because it's allowed me to one, be very patient when I don't have a sale coming up. Because that first sale that I had, it took like 3 or 4 days. Like I
Mm.
was stressed. I was like, I'm a failure. No one likes me. I was freaked out. I was terrified. But and then here we are, like three. I mean, someone just bid on my recent pit, my fourth piece, 28 just like a couple hours ago. I haven't accepted it yet. But so like that, there's having that fear in my heart was like very intense. But like that allowing me not to get emotional by that, to not be like, let me take it down or delete it, or everyone thinks that, like, not to be like chaotic with it and to like delete everybody or something. I don't know, whatever. Like, I think that was one of the most things that I was proud of is to just like wait and just relax and just
Yeah.
let it play out.
I think believing in myself because like I said, I quit my job, and I said I'm gonna be an artist. It doesn't matter what comes my way. I know that my art means something, and I am talented. So going into this space, same mindset. It's like, okay, I made this first sale. It's kind of an anomaly. Not it doesn't happen like that, and it might not happen like that the next drop, which is looking like it would. But I know that I'm in this for the long run. So doing my work, I recently got like a publicist, and I'm like, oh, this is what I needed. And it was something that I had met her through Clubhouse, and we kind of connected. And I was teaching her about NFTs. And I was like, oh my God, I have this exhibition coming up. Could you possibly help me? And she was like, of course. Like, you willingly took out of your time to help me. Of course, I'm going to help you. And it's just from there, I'm like, wow, getting like publications and articles that I've never been in. Oh, what? So it's kind of this mindset of, you know what, this space, like a lot of people are going to come your way that are going to help you. Some people might not help you, but that is just this whole journey, and I'm on it, and I got patience for it. So, and I believe in myself. Believe in
What was
myself.
your thought
Preach.
process around getting a publicist?
I've always known that having a team is important. So when Elise was saying her and her team, I'm like, I just want that to be me. Because it's great to wear hats, but burnout is real. And like if you're an artist, especially when you start growing and you need to do so many more things, it becomes hard. But I knew that like this is someone who's had like 11 years of experience in the art world and PR. She knows her way around how to communicate a press release. Even though I wrote my press release by myself, and she's like, amazing, I will send it out for you because like you did a good job, and it's really different. I like it. So knowing what I needed to have and being able to do a little bit of the work and then just have that like extra add-on to help me out was something I knew that would be really important, especially for a large scale group exhibition. This is big. Let's be strategic here. Can you help me out? Yes, you can. Amazing. So I definitely know that was important because it sets almost like a little bit of a precedent. Like, hey, I got myself on 2 articles. Okay, wait till what comes next.
Okay, so basically you are trying to build a team around you that can help take on the workload that's growing now that you're becoming more and more successful in the NFT space.
Correct.
What is your kind of vision for yourself as an artist? Because I know, there are people who are jumping into NFTs just for like the money grab. And then there are people who are like, I'm not an NFT artist. I'm an artist and I am leveraging NFTs as a part of my long-term overall like strategy and vision as an artist, right? So what is your vision for yourself, Lizzy? And then Elise.
For me, I really do believe that I am an artist. But I understand because I was reading something that was interesting. They said kids born from like a certain age, millennials, Gen X, we evolved with the internet, right? So we saw the whole phase of it. It's only going to continue. So every industry is almost going to evolve with the way technology evolves. It makes sense. So I'm like, well, as an artist, it's great. I really want to establish myself in the traditional world. Do they really care for me? Are they looking for me? Not really. So maybe if I establish myself here, I will also be able to get that recognition with the actual physical work that I create. So it's kind of like a equilibrium that I'm trying to create, propel myself and establish myself in this ever-growing space that's kind of new, but then also use that to leverage me being able to actually establish myself in the physical world as well.
Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if I could just be a crypto artist, oof, I would be living. I would be so happy because I think the biggest struggle for me personally is I've been a child of the internet. I live on the internet. My pieces have been difficult to blow up because I make them on my phone, but they're great on screens. They're beautiful on phones. They're beautiful, have been for years. And it's funny, like a few years ago, I do this thing where I write down like my vision of my future self. And I wrote down, be in a gallery, be a gallery artist. But the issue was for me in my mind, I'm like, how can I do that? And so what I would do is work backwards from that idea. I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll just paint my pieces. Maybe I'll do like just kind of like get away from what I'm actually doing in order to be successful in a space that's like not welcoming to what I do. And I was kind of like shifting myself even in 2020. I was like, okay, well I'm gonna try to paint a little more, get better at it so I can finally be in the galleries like my vision. But like I didn't realize that vision was obviously NFTs. Like I'm about to be in an exhibition next month with Super Rare, and that's my one of my first digital exhibitions, and that's like it's just crazy to have wrote that a few years ago and to not understand that that was even a possibility and to be in this space now. I just feel like I'm meant to be here. I'm made to be here. I'm worthy of being here. And I feel like I can't wait to see where this space goes because it's for me.
Period.
Period.
You know, it's funny you
Gotcha.
said that. Like, me in this virtual exhibition is my first ever exhibition. So I'm like,
Let's
what?
go.
I didn't think that I would. I said I wanted this, but like, it's so the
It's
space is
real.
allowing so many things to happen that you'd wished for in the traditional art canon that doesn't really want you. So I'm not mad.
Hmm.
I'm not mad about the NFT
Well,
world.
so
That's
excited.
awesome. So before we wrap up, are there any questions that y'all want to ask each other or even ask me?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know, what do you think can be done to open up the space for Black artists?
Yeah, I think um, I think it's on us to build community and to build alliances, and to use those alliances to open up opportunity. Excuse me, open up opportunities for ourselves and for each other. So, for example, I see organizations like Black NFT Art,
I love
One Off, and other groups in this space being able to collectively like bargain, for example, to get Black artists onto platforms like Nifty Gateway, right? That it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard to get on, and to use those alliances and that collective power to help usher Black people into spaces that we're having a hard time getting into. I think that coming together and collaborating is is the best thing that we can do for ourselves. And I'm also looking forward to seeing more celebrities
Hmm.
um, step into the space in a thoughtful way,
Yeah.
um, in a way that helps up and coming Black artists get more of the attention that they deserve. And that's something that Black NFT Art is actually working on. We have a celebrity client, our first big client.
Ooh,
We'll
hey.
be hopefully be able to make an announcement soon, but um, they came to myself and Erican through Crypto for Black Economic Empowerment, which is a group of Black leaders in the crypto space. And they were like, hey, we want to get into the NFT space. We want to do it in a thoughtful way. Um, we want to uplift artists and entrepreneurs in the space. And we were like, yeah, we can help you do that. And we're happy that you're even thinking about it that way, because you could very easily just say, I'm going to jump in, like
Right.
drop an
Yeah.
NFT, like make
And I've
this
seen that.
money,
I've
make a
seen that.
million
Yep.
dollars and dip, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to work with big name people in that way.
I'm
Interesting.
excited
I'm
for that
excited.
too.
I feel like I
Sheesh.
might know who it is, but I'm gonna just keep my speculations to myself.
You
I
might
might
know.
know because
You might
I'm like, was
know.
I in the root? Anyway, but I love that. And then with that whole like collaboration aspect, I'm like, oh, I think that's important. So I have a question for Elise. How do you feel
Mm.
about collaboration, like collaboration with recording artists, but also artist to artist collaboration in the NFT space? Because I know I've seen like, I remember when I was watching Ferocious do stuff, and I'm like, oh, I see that he's putting people on by allowing the work to kind of combine together. That's really interesting. So, wanted to pose that to you. What do you think about the whole notion of collaboration?
Yeah, I'm gonna be 100% with you. I am a very particular person when it comes to how people work, how people do things, and I need to be able to trust someone's character. I need to be able to trust that they are my friend, and I could count my friends on like this hand
Mm,
right here, and they're not designers. So I've just had a lot of like traumatic past experiences, like publicly working with certain people who have been like canceled, so to speak, or like
mm.
certain things. And so
You don't think about
I tend to protect my brand and myself by that, by not really connecting with people who I don't know 100%.
that.
And that's something that, I mean, we've only been in this for a month, and I don't know a lot of these people. And there's still
Mm,
even like new things that pop up. Like there was some drama the other day where this one guy was like threatening this 15-year-old, and I like we all followed him, thought he was a great artist in the NFT space, but then like he was doing some weird stuff, and it's
then you
like
do
we
that.
just got to know him, and now but there's little things like that that happen where it's like, what if a few weeks ago I was like, oh, let's collab because you're great. Like I'm glad that's not an option for me right now. So I'm just a very protective person of what I've built for myself because it's been a long decade of doing this by myself. That's all I'm gonna say.
That is
And it's
facts.
hard to allow someone new to come into my space now.
That is facts. I like that. I
It
think
makes
that's
a lot of
important.
sense.
Exactly. Because when you think about it, you're like, cancel culture is a part of the culture
It's
now, and
real.
it's a
I mean,
very real thing,
right. And I don't really
dependent
believe in
on.
cancel culture, right? I don't believe in cancel culture. I believe in accountability culture. I think
Yeah.
that people have a responsibility to correct their wrongs, and I
Yeah.
think people should have that opportunity. But if you don't do that, then peace.
You know?
So yeah,
Hmm.
it's a difficult thing to be a part of
It's like a,
sometimes. But I would love to do collaborations, but it's in the back of my mind, obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being very sensitive, especially given that there are these royalties built into the
Yeah.
process. So you're essentially going to have to be, sharing this income forever, right? So
Exactly. It gets
you want,
complicated.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, that's all I have for you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to getting to know more Black women in the space
Me
through
too.
conversations
Me
like
too.
this, and hopefully we can have y'all on again in the future, maybe. And Elise, we'd love to see you on Clubhouse. Where are you
Eh,
at?
oh, I'm on there all the time. I don't, it's like too much talking. I don't know. I love talk. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I just have so much to share myself, and it's hard for me to like sit and like wait for my chance. I'm like, oh, I just want to say
Yeah,
something.
that's why the
So it's
I
small
feel
hard.
you.
It's
rooms,
very,
small rooms are always so much
yeah.
better. I've met like so many people that I love to talk to in smaller rooms because you can
Hmm.
actually, communicate. When you get into those
Right.
large rooms, it turns into like, ooh, turns
Just
into
playing the waiting game
it's
forever.
like the graduation line, when you're waiting for your name
It's
at any point in high school, whatever. You're like, so when's my turn? And then
like, the
before it's
turn
your
never
turn,
comes.
you forget your question.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'm so excited to follow you, Lizzie, and I'm excited to connect with you, Iris, on
Yes.
Clubhouse. I mean, it seems like you guys know what you're doing on there, and I can't wait to follow you guys and be a part of what you're doing because I just know it's gonna be great. So I'm looking forward to it.
Moi aussi.
Thanks.
Awesome. I'll actually send you an invite for the Black NFT Art
Oh,
Club.
please,
We've
please.
been doing weekly events. Our rooms are pretty small and intimate,
They're
which
great.
is how I like it.
Oh,
And I think
perfect.
everyone seems to appreciate it. A number of people have mentioned it being like the first space where they felt comfortable coming up on stage, asking questions, engaging,
That's
and
good.
we really want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
I'm in.
It was so
Cool.
much fun talking to you, ladies. Love it.
So
Love
fun.
it.
Thank you so much. I like
Thank
literally I've enjoyed this so much. I can't wait to just be you guys' friend. Like we're friends now. This is it.
Already
We're
Yes,
friends.
in.
You
We're
already.
locked in.
yes, we
And
are.
Iris, I gotta give you your flowers. Like you are doing the work. Okay, you are doing the work, and we all appreciate you like immensely. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Honestly, working with artists is so amazing. This has been one of the
Mhm.
best experiences of my life. It's just, I mean, I'm not an artist myself, but I admire artists so much, and I just love being able to work with y'all and help y'all succeed. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Eyes are swelling up a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Let me stick around.
It might look like my skin is, but I'm crying. I'm crying.